I've been working as a correspondent, newspaper correspondent, in the former Yugoslavia, so also in Croatia during the war. Afterwards, I've been working as a correspondent in Moscow, and I've started writing books, which is a bit different. I think to me it's different. I write non-fiction, but you could compare it to the documentary film. I like the documentary film and the way of storytelling. And I try to apply the same in my books. So it's non-fiction. It's the narrative, the narrative that brings you to places. You can call it a travelogue, but I'm not interested in the labels. But it's maybe important to know that they're not novels.
Okay, so what are we going to see and hear tonight?
Well, actually, two of my books have been translated into Croatian. It's Ararat, about Mount Ararat, the mythical, if you want, biblical mountain on the border between Turkey and Armenia. And it's, of course, the legendary mountain where supposedly, according to the Bible, the Ark of Noah landed. And I wrote a book about science and religion, actually about, well, geology and mythology, because I like both. I like the stories, I like the storytelling, and I like the facts. In this case, geological facts. The other book that is translated into Croatian is Engineers of the Soul. It's about socialist, realist art, particularly about literature. The literature under Stalin. And I focused on a small group of authors, some famous, some less famous. And I've asked myself, what actually, what was demanded from them to produce? What did the censorship demand from these writers, or the terror, the intimidation? What kind of literature they produced? And I have read a lot of books from the 30s in the Soviet Union, and they're boring. They're completely hollow. At the same time, you know that the authors that had to produce these books, they are the tragic figures. They are the tragic characters. So I focused on their lives. They are my protagonists in the book Engineers of the Soul. Actually, by traveling in Russia today and rereading socialist, realist art and books in this case, I came across a movie. The movie was is called Karabugas, and it was produced in the Soviet Union in 1935. And I came across it. It's a strange story. The movie was never released. It was never shown to the Soviet public, although it was propaganda. It was good Soviet propaganda, and yet the movie never made it to the cinemas, and this of course had to do with Stalinist terror, and I will explain in what complicated way this movie was shelved. It was never shown. Why the people that were involved in making it were prosecuted. It's a whole story of its own, which shows the face of terror.
Ararat je jedan osobni i društveni zapravo pogled na povijest religije, na konstrukciju, a potom i dekonstrukciju mitova, osobito religijskih, vjerskih mitova, gdje je iskorištena svima poznata priča o potopu i Noinoj arci i ona je u svakom slučaju vrlo, vrlo osobna zbog toga što Frank Westerman ovdje pod lupu nekako stavlja i zapravo otkriva vrlo iskreno svoja propitivanja i svoj odmak od religije u kojoj je odgajan. Inženjeri duše su knjiga koja je direktno vezana i uz film koji ćemo gledati. Ona je zapravo jedna fascinantna priča o, možda je zbog toga bila primarno zanimljivija našim čitateljima, o takozvanim fizicima i liricima u Sovjetskom savezu za vrijeme Staljina, odnosno kakve su to bile uloge pisaca za vrijeme Staljina. I ono što je možda najzanimljiviji dio, zapravo na koji način